Today, I'm very excited to announce the launch of Story Engine. It's a new tool from Sudowrite that lets you write an entire novel with the help of an AI. We've been testing this with hundreds of writers, and some have been able to write a draft for an entire book in just a weekend. We build this in response to professional authors who tell us that as soon as they publish a book, the very next day, readers want the next one. So let's dive in to see how Story Engine works. Story Engine is laid out in columns from left to right. The leftmost columns are the highest granularity of your story. Things like genre, your style, the synopsis, and we get into more details as we move to the right. Things like character, outline, and finally, the chapters themselves. So let's write a novel together and see how this works. Let's say that we're writing a sci-fi novel. Let's make it a romance sci-fi. Let's say it's about Tomas, a quantum mechanics scientist who meets a woman named Liz. Well, first we start with brain dump. So brain dump is a completely free-form box. You can put anything you know about the story into it. It can be an outline, or maybe the characters, or even just a free-form stream of consciousness. The AI will handle putting it into a story format. So let's say this is Tomas, a quantum mechanics, how about quantum field theory scientist, meets a woman named Liz, who is an astronomer. They soon discover that they are living in parallel universes, and no one but themselves can see each other. They inhabit totally different universes. And let's say that Tomas's research has caused this to happen. They fall in love, and they must contend with never truly living in each other's worlds. And I'll say at the end, they get to be with each other through some fantastic means. So let's say this is all I know about the story right now. I am just fleshing it out, and Story Engine is a highly collaborative interface. So we'll collaborate with the AI to make the story happen. Genre, let's say it's science fiction. So this will help steer the AI into certain tropes and tones of that genre. And let's say it's romance. And style. So this specifies how we want the style of the prose to be written. So let's say it's literary science fiction, lush prose. Let's say it's whimsical. So let's move on. Synopsis. So here's where the magic starts. You can generate a synopsis based on the brain dump. So let's click. So now the AI is looking at these three boxes and putting it into a format that is more amenable to a synopsis. So let's see what we have. In a world where science and unknown collide, Tomas, a brilliant quantum field theory scientist, finds himself inexplicably drawn to Liz, an astronomer with a keen eye for the stars. The research has caused strange phenomena, however their love for each other is strong enough to withstand even the most impossible odds. As they navigate the turns of this strange new world, Tomas and Liz must contend with never truly living in each other's world. A series of obstacles test the limits of their love. They discover to bridge the gap between the world using the very science that brought them together. Great. And at this point, you can also edit this, and we highly suggest this. The AI, just think of it, this is like the first draft from the AI, and you can go in and edit. I'll usually do that, but in this case, let's just move on. So the next one is characters. So let's hit generate. And what the AI is doing now is taking the synopsis as well as the genre and the brain dump together to create a set of characters that inhabit this world. And I'm just going to stop it there. So as you can see, it generated a few different characters. Outside of Tomas and Liz, it generated some side characters. Dr. Eleanor Thorne, a wise physicist who serves as a mentor. Sounds reasonable. Caleb is another ambitious scientist working under Tomas. Wrestles with feelings of inadequacy and jealousy. Interesting. And then we have a close friend of Liz, Mara, who is a fellow astronomer. Let's get rid of this one since I canceled in the middle. Let's see how we can rewrite this. So let's say that we like these characters, but we want a little specificity. What if we just want last names? So you can say add last names to each character. Now rewrite. Okay, so it added some. Tomas Jones, Liz Parker. And of course, these are just suggestions, right? You can go in and edit these. This is a good starting point. Now let's move on to outline. So this is starting to get into the real meat of the novel. So what outline will do is we'll click generate, is that it will look at the synopsis, it will look at the characters, and put it into an outline that dramatizes that story. And it does this using acts and chapters. Okay, and it's done. So the AI has now generated 12 different chapters across 4 acts: introduction, conflict, rising action, climax, and conclusion. And usually I would read through this as well. So if you read through this, you can see Tomas, it uses all the characters. Liz Parker is an astronomer. Look, they meet at a conference. So this is interesting. They cross paths. So this is the meet cute. Shortly after, they begin to experience strange phenomena as their connection grows stronger. Tomas is initially hesitant to pursue a relationship with Liz, fearing of the consequences of tampering with the fabric of reality, of course. And you can continue to go here and edit it as well and make it your own. And let's say that we like this. And I'm gonna do a little bit of editing here. Tomas Jones spending long hours at the laboratory. His normal life revolves around work. He's an astronomer. And let's say, during a conference, let's merge these together, but only as projections. Okay. Let's just say that's chapter 1. Let's make this chapter 2. And now we can move on to actually generating the chapter. Before we can do that, though, first we must generate something we call beats. So this is the beats that happen in the chapter. This is the summary for that chapter. So these are step-by-step instructions that guide the artificial intelligence to write the chapter. So let's generate that now. So what this is doing is it's analyzing the outline as well as all the other boxes to the left of this. Does a lot of different chains of language models together to figure out what are some compelling beats that would hit the plot points within chapter 1. So as you can see, it generated 12 different beats. And if you read them through, you can see how they match up to what is happening in this chapter. We introduced Tomas. We mentioned Tomas socializes with fellow researchers, including Caleb. And we introduced Liz as well, described the conference in astrophysics, avoid revealing too much about the strange phenomena. And so you'll see these drivers and guardrails. Drivers are things that drive the scene that we really want to hit in terms of this plot point. Like, for example, Liz's belief in the power of love. Guardrails are things that we want the AI to know there are particular constraints. For example, avoid revealing too much about the strange phenomena yet. And we can continue reading here. We described how they can see and communicate with each other, show how Tomas and Liz are confused. And then we describe how they try to figure out what is happening. And so usually our authors spend most of the time here editing these beats, making their own. This is very important because it tells the AI how to actually write the chapter. And now we get to the prose. We can hit generate, and The AI will now take these beats into account and start writing the beginning of our novel. And I'll read a little bit from it as we go along, and I'll also pause. Thomas Jones stood in the heart of his laboratory, bathed in the cold fluorescent light that hummed above. It was a sterile space, devoid of personal touches, save for the collection of quantum field theory books occupying a corner shelf, a testament to his unwavering dedication. Thomas had published 10 groundbreaking papers on the subject, unraveling mysteries that had confounded the scientific community for decades. Remarkable, he breathed, peering through the eyepiece of the latest microscope. The subatomic particles danced before him, their patterns as intricate and beautiful. Care to share your discovery, Dr. Jones? Caleb Williams? And so on and so forth. We see Thomas in his natural habitat, which is what is specified in beats. And this will continue on. And so I paused it, and it pauses it between after beat 2. And so this is the highly collaborative part of Story Engine. You can go in and edit this. Maybe you don't like the setting, maybe you don't like some other aspects of this beat, and then have the AI continue. In this way, it can be sort of a back and forth between the AI writing the chapter. We also have 3 different models. We have a most accurate one, which is by default, but it's a little slower. We also have the best prose. This model is good at generating highly lush prose that people would find pleasing to read. And we also have the fastest. This is if you really want to flesh out a scene quickly and see how it goes. Let's choose fastest for now. And let's say that we like this and we can continue. The AI will take into account what's been written so far and continue the text. But then he saw her. Liz Parker was standing at the entrance to one of the lecture halls, her eyes fixed upon the schedule. She wore a simple, form-fitting dress that accentuated her curves, and her hair shimmered like spun gold. It felt like a jolt of electricity. And so we have the meeting between Liz and Tomas. His eyes widened felt a sense of pride mixed with embarrassment. Thank you. And let's keep going down. You can see the AI is continuing to write. And each scene, each chapter, will be about 3,000 to 4,000 words or so. As these language models have gotten better, its ability to remain coherent while writing large segments of text is vastly improved. And we can see he couldn't believe what he was seeing. It was as if he were being pulled off his body, his consciousness floating freely into the air. He blinked, trying to clear his vision. Can you see me too? Liz nodded. Yes, I don't know how, but I can. They spent hours talking, the projections flickering in and out of existence, as they tried to understand what was happening to them. And so the mystery of this parallel universe is introduced here. It looks like the AI is done writing this particular chapter, about 3,000 words. Tomas tried to push away the doubts of fear, but he couldn't shake the feeling that things were about to get a lot more complicated. And so you can continue doing this. So you can continue with chapter 2. You can create the chapter and do the same sort of back and forth with the AI using the beats in prose. So that's Story Engine. And using this technique and this interface, you're able to create an entire book. One thing I want to emphasize is that this is a highly collaborative interface. Our authors have been using this in a back and forth with AI together in concert to create stories. This is not about just generating and accepting those words as default, but generating them and editing them, making it your own. And in this way, we built Story Engine for people who love to write stories and want a collaborative partner in helping them along the way. So that's Story Engine. It's available now for everyone on Sudowrite, and we're super excited to see what kinds of books you write with it.